I don't know how many of y'all remember the movie The Usual Suspects. In that movie, they described the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was to convince the world he didn't exist. You know what I'm curious? Is anybody left at the Organizing for America headquarters? I'm actually glad that the president's whole political staff is here instead of actually doing mischief in the country.
I see it.
In the movie The Usual Suspects, they said the greatest trick the devil ever played was to convince the world he didn't exist. Well, you know what? The greatest trick the left has ever played is to convince conservatives we cannot win. The media will tell us that believing in free market values, believing in the Constitution, believing in freedom, that those are extreme views. It is a lie. If it were not a lie, why do so many Democrats, when they're running, pretend to be conservatives? For that matter, why do so many Republicans do the same? The values each and every one of us are defending are values that every small town, every family, every small business has understood in this country for centuries. That's what we're defending. That's what we're defending. You know, at this point, you know what's striking, actually? In the course of this brief speech, we've heard more questions than President Obama's allowed in the past year. In fact, since we have the men and women of the media here, let me make an offer to our president. I would welcome the president if he wants to get 100 of his most rabid political operatives in a room. I'll answer their questions on television as long as he likes. And in exchange, all I would ask, Mr. President, is you take not 100, but 10 of the men and women in this room and spend 30 minutes answering their questions for the American people. You know, when the fight for Obamacare started, Senator Mike Lee and I began by pitching it in Washington. And it was abundantly clear that this was not a strategy that Washington was going to embrace. It was far too risky, and if there's one overarching urge in Washington, it is risk aversion. Do nothing, nothing, nothing that has any risk that it might actually do anything. And so this summer, Mike Lee and I took a very different strategy. We said, okay, we're going to go. Ma'am, I look forward to you at the town hall we'll pull together.